Well, this is the last time we played Aberdeen. It was a short while ago, but in case anyone's forgotten, this was the starting 11. We drew out 2 each. We brought Ida, Forrest, Bernardo, and McKibben off the bench. So the question then becomes, coming into the semi-final, how does the team actually look? Because has Vickers been primed to start? Is McGregor had enough time off where he can come back in and then play midweek for us? Does Taylor start over Valley? I suppose Johnson's probably quite nailed, but this is what's on screen now is how the team finished against Dundee last night. So how many changes, and I don't know if this isn't the starting 11, but how different can this team be, or how different will it be is maybe part of it. Maybe Forrest for Kuhn is maybe the obvious one, but do we even know that Kuhn is going to play? Is something I'm thinking now.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, just some of this stuff could just be complete caution. I mean, you've seen that Greg Taylor was on the bench at Motherwell, never get any minutes, and my reasoning then was I think Valley will start again, because if he was going to start him soon, why would he not put him on at the end or whatever? And he moved Scales to left back, and then Taylor played pretty much the whole game. I would go Schmeichel. It's really harsh on Trusty, but I think I would go back to Scales and CCV. Just because I would want CCV in there for the right-footed stuff, and I just still think that he's our best centre half. Really, really difficult on Trusty, and I think he's done well. I think, as you say, Taylor probably just edges it just based on experience in there as well. Johnson, I think Calmack will come back. I think that really, if we were in a desperation stage, he could have played either or both of those games. You hear what the manager said. He trained on Saturday. He said he felt a bit in his adductor, and we thought we'll not take a risk with him. Well, what does that tell you? We'll just come back in for the game at the weekend, I think. So I think there'll be McGregor, Engels and Hatate. And then up front, I think it'll be Dyson, Kyogo and Nicholas Kuhn. The only for me variation in that will be if somebody's injured. I just think Ida's really struggling because of that really bad challenge. Nicholas Kuhn's obviously our best winger. I mean, by an absolute country mile, our best winger this season. And you've got these games coming up. So, okay, he wasn't in the squad at all, but that could just be to protect him for these games, because he had that previous kind of, was it the back thing or whatever he had, it's like, start of the season, okay, he's getting stronger, but he's got a wee thing with his back or whatever. So just getting him ready for there. But what do you think? I mean, I think we'll just be back to full strength basically for Saturday night.
I agree with you. And I think the back four, although it's harsh on Trusty, maybe harsh on Engels, but it is Hampden and it's against, joint top leaders of the table we're playing against in the semi-final. So I think Taylor is probably going to have the seniority over him in that regard, just a safer pair of hands, as it were. And I think on that basis, it does become Scales and Vickers, because that, you cannot drop Scales. But I don't know. I wouldn't be too surprised. I don't know. Would I be too surprised if it was Scales and Trusty? And then we got Vickers on to seal us out at the end, and then Vickers starts Leipzig. I don't know. I'm still, but I think this is the most likely. I agree. But the midfield is really the thing, because McGregor comes back in, right? But for who? It's not going to be Engels. I think we know that. McKibben feels like he's kind of, he's
cup tied.
Yes, of course he is.
So, because that was one of the reasons why I thought he would play midweek as well, because obviously can't play in the cup. So
we're back to the age-old question of, is it Hatate or Bernardo then?
I think it'll be Hatate, honestly, because if you look at where Bernardo's been playing, he's been kind of covering for McGregor. And I think he's done okay in there, but I think that Engels has had his rest, and I think that he's like a Rodgers golden boy now type thing. It's like, that's my signing, pace, power, buzzwords guy. That Engels playing, McGregor's a captain, and then you look at it beyond that and say who's going to play with him, and Hatate's obviously the guy I think there that offers you there's something different in midfield. People can get frustrated because he gives the ball away, but he's probably got the most ability out of all of the three midfielders, if that makes sense. McGregor probably puts in more consistent performances, but Hatate on out and out ability that's probably why he's frustrating, because how good he actually is in terms of the technical side of things, or technician, as Neil Lennon we always used to refer to them. And then Dyson, Kyogo and stuff like that are tried and tested in these big games as well. You think back to the Hampden games, Dyson turning the guy against Rangers, whip it in, Jota scores and all that sort of stuff. You know, there's no real issue there, as long as we get everybody firing.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think with the size of the pitch, it's a bit of a thing. Hampden is a big ground, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
and this kind of evolution that we've seen against Atalanta, and then a little bit in the games since, which is Motherwell and then Dundee. It was Bernardo for the most part, but we've seen McKibben finish the Dundee match in this position with McKibben just like playing in here, but having that freedom to just go. Or if the opposition goalkeeper has the ball, if it's like a goal kick or something, he's got that freedom to be up here and join a bit of the press a bit. But with Hatate becomes another forward. If you actually watch the game, Hatate spends a lot of time up here for the most part. He's very quick to recover and get involved, but he wants to be up in here. So I could see this being like quite suitable for Hampden. You know, you have McGregor and Engels. McGregor's got freedom to come off the leash here and be that kind of the version of him that we've seen under Brendan Rodgers first time. Like that was his best season ever for goals and assists and all the rest of it. But like we've seen against Dundee, was it the penalty? Yeah, the penalty chance gets created because Engels bursts through the middle of the pitch. You know, goes old school Yaya Toure on us, bursts through the middle, nobody's stopping him, and then he slides Kyogo in straight down the line, and then Kyogo obviously gets pulled back and wins the penalty. So it feels, and McGregor, if McGregor sees Engels charging on, McGregor will just, I know what to do. You know what I mean? I'll just do this again. You know, so
Yeah.
it feels like I said before the game last night, I really hoped that we would have seen Engels deep. And I think now that we have, it surely sets it up for this to be the sort of dynamic it might actually still look like this because we need McGregor to be in the middle of the spider web or whatever. But I think like you just seen a different level of comfort from Engels patrolling this area here and being in that position. So yeah. Would I be surprised if he started Bernardo? Probably not, because Hatate from the bench, as somebody said earlier, he looks better off the bench. I think that's more because he's got a point to prove and he wants to start again. But if you do start this midfield, the only sub is Bernardo, and that doesn't really move this midfield on, you know. So if the game's tight or not going our way, there's not really anything from the bench, but no McKibben with him being cup tied, like you've reminded us, that can bring something new to the party later on, which is a worry.
Yeah, I would just go strong. I mean, like the Dundee games, I said to you, we could one other way to do it would have been to go pretty strong and then start making your 5 changes. And obviously, we never really picked that option, which was a complete pain in the ass for Sorare. By the way, you mentioned Sorare earlier, and Celtic are one of the best teams on Sorare, so it's definitely worth getting involved from that point of view. But I back to this. I mean, obviously, Greg Taylor as well there. You know, you've got him out sort of wide left there, but in possession, you know, he's coming in beside the midfield and giving you another option in there as well. The other thing is he's got quite a good relationship with Daisen Maeda. You know, they played it together a lot, so he's got a better relationship probably with him than Valley has, just because obviously they've played together a lot. And then the other side, you see this season's one of Celtic's most productive areas is Alistair Johnson, Nicholas Kuhn, because you know Johnson on the overlaps getting goals and assists now. You know, so he's just like a Tavernier that can actually defend. Like, imagine that. Imagine, give the guy penalties, honestly. He would be up for the Ballon d'Or. But I mean, he's been brilliant. And him and Nicholas Kuhn have got a proper good relationship there, and it works. And you even seen that Atlanta game where Kuhn was coming back and helping him. And I've no doubt that helped Johnson a lot, because Johnson was in a yellow card in that game. And he was cramping everything at the end, and Nicholas Kuhn put in a shift. So I don't think really he's properly injured. I think he's probably just been held back for this run of games. That's what I'm hoping. And he's the type of guy who needs to be properly firing. But I can't wait for the game, honestly. Like, I know everybody thinks it'll be quite competitive and all that type of stuff, but I think we'll win by a couple, honestly. I really do. Like, if we'd have put away our chances against Aberdeen at home and put away the game at 2-0, then it could have been 4 or 5. And obviously, we let them back into it, and obviously they're riding high and they're doing really well, and they beat Rangers. But beating Rangers isn't really that good an achievement at the moment. You know, Kilmarnock beat Rangers, Celtic beat Rangers, scored 2 goals away from home. So, you know, let's not be judging stuff on that. Let's go and give them a hiding and just set a marker down. That's what I'd be wanting to do. Or if not, you've got to try and win the game. But honestly, I'd like to see us coming out firing, full team, you know, great atmosphere, you know, right at it, and then set a bit of the tone then for the Champions League, because they're a good team, Aberdeen. You know, I'm not but I think that Celtic can produce a higher level in Aberdeen.
I'm with you, and you've just reminded me there of a Brendan Rodgers quote from this season that I meant to make sure to hit him over the face with in case he needs reminding. But he did say a big part of this season was getting a treble. You know, last year we did a double. This year we're chasing a treble. So going into this semi-final, what you just said there, I would totally expect them to go from the first whistle, go out and blast them, go out and try and win this game.
Yeah.
Foot to the floor, pedal to the metal and all that stuff and go for it. And, you know, they had a great result. Somebody's mentioned that again in the chat, but there will be a bit of a come down from them from that. Rodgers has even mentioned we've been on a bit of a Atalanta come down for the last week or so. So, you know, I think they'll still be professional and they'll still go for it and try their best and everything, Aberdeen. But when they come out of that tunnel onto the Hampden pitch, they see the green and white stands. They see us from the first minute, like firing. And if it's that sort of team that we just had on screen at starts, like we could win this game very well. And, you know, and like it wouldn't probably depending on how bad we beat them, but like we could win this game. Forget about the scoreline, I suppose, but maybe just on like balance of play, we don't really get challenged. We could win this game quite comfortably, is what I'm trying to babble out here. And I don't think it would surprise me. I think we could be quite easily shown to be like a level above Aberdeen on like a one-off game, especially because so many of these players are primed for this weekend. Carter Vickers has played 90 minutes over the last 2 games and he's been in training for 3 weeks or something like that. Scales has just sat out for the first time ever. Taylor's clocked 190 minutes in the last month, and you know that's been a progressive shallow end to deep end thing. We know what's happened with McGregor and Kuhn getting wee massages instead of playing football. So like, this team is like set to go for semi-final and then for lives, like it feels like. So we could really show a real like night and day situation to what we seen last night into the weekend just by the intent as well as the starting 11 that we put out there. So I think it could be really quite clever. I know people are worried about it. Definitely don't write Aberdeen off, but like if we won 2-0 and we didn't break a sweat or something like that, I wouldn't be too surprised either, you know, because I do think that best 11 could be a cut above. We looked at the team that played Aberdeen last time, and it was basically the same team, but, you know, there was no Vickers. Did Valley play or was it Taylor? I'm forgetting now. But there was a few changes that would be made into this team for the weekend, you would suspect. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's vitally important. The manager's on record the saying we want a treble. So he has to go for it.
Yeah. And let's face it, the winner probably should beat Motherwell in the final as well, right?
Yeah, a Motherwell final. When was the last time we played Motherwell in the final? I don't know if we've ever played Motherwell in the final, have we?
Have we?
They've got a really easy semi-final draw. They've got a really easy semi-final draw, Motherwell. I forget who they're playing. Maybe a team from League One or something like that.
Hoydonk scored against Airdrie, didn't he? I don't really recall Motherwell ones. Maybe it probably will be at some point, but I know I'm
remember Motherwell getting to finals, you know.
I'm jesting there because obviously they're playing against Rangers, but you expect obviously in that other semi-final there'll be a bit of a reaction there. Otherwise people will be getting sacked, surely. I mean, like seriously.
People
but I mean, back to this game, Aberdeen have done really well, but I think that everybody's got to be realistic and realise that maybe they've been overperforming a wee bit as well, you know. Even they scored quite late against Hearts. Great to have that attitude. They've scored obviously against Rangers and they've beat Rangers, you know. But I've not seen any of the game or whatever. But it's probably it's not like they've hammered Rangers. Then it's probably been reasonably close, but just with maybe Rangers not creating or whatever. And I just think Celtic just need to go and produce a high level and just see how the result turns out. And then, you know, it could be a sort of marker to lay down as well, because out of Aberdeen and Rangers, I would say that Rangers still have more capabilities of going in a run of winning the next 11 or 12 games in a row, and whether or not Aberdeen can keep that up, we'll see. So yeah, let's go and put in a good performance.
Apparently we beat them in 2 finals in the 1 year. I don't remember that. But as soon as somebody said we had one 6 years ago, I thought, oh yeah, I can remember like kind of half easy, boring final where it was not really much of a much. So yeah, there you go. And Cham and McGregor. I think that's maybe the one I'm thinking of. And Cham rings a bell. Don't remember
the final where we played against like Ross County or something as well. Was it who did we play in the last final that Ange was there?
I think we had. It might have been Ross County.
Yeah, because it was like one of those where you see him at the end and you think, he's away.
Yeah.
It's like the realization's hitting, like, aye, something not right here. But anyway, aye, yeah, we definitely have. And I think that Motherwell wise, because obviously we're talking about all the both semi-finals now being, they're reasonably well organised under Kettlewell, but Celtic really kind of dominated them in that 3-0 game, and that's probably a bit of a worrying sign. You would have thought for that was Inverness Cali Thistle, it wasn't Ross County. A bit of a worrying sign for Motherwell as well. The fact that not the fact Celtic beat them, but the fact that it wasn't really more competitive at their home ground type thing. And Rangers will be proper, be fired up for that, because it's like, well, okay, we're going to have to go and win this cup here. That's always the expectation, but there's a bit extra edge to it because of obviously the poor results and everything there as well. So it's going to be a great weekend. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's going to be brilliant. Lots to look forward to, obviously, and then Leipzig. So loads coming up.
Tons to get stuck into. I'm very much looking forward to it. It'll be nice as well to have a nice wee weekend. And I don't normally like cup weekends. Cup games midweek are fine, but I'm quite happy for it to be a cup weekend this weekend, because this midweek was absolutely brutal for me. Andrew McBride, wasn't it? So many guys started on the bench. So many teams were down the tubes rapid. It was not funny, but it'd be nice to see a game, because what we're going to get in this team is the best 11 in the manager's opinion, I believe, and we are not all totally sure what he thinks that is right now. So we're going to get a game where we're not going to get any DNPs, did not play, guys from the bench or anything like that. And we're going to get all the information that we're missing on the manager's current pecking order of left backs, centre backs, of midfielders, any changes to the dynamic in midfield or anything like that. So I'm actually really, as far as cup weekends go and not having them to play in SO5 or anything, I'm really looking forward to it on that one. But I think when it comes to Rangers in this semi-final, like, I heard someone saying they don't know how many Rangers fans will even turn up to it. Like, the thing will get them through the finals if they all turn up, and really, I don't know if that helps them actually, because we know they do better in empty stadiums. Maybe that's what their plan is. Maybe they're planning on not going to the game because they know that will help them.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose Rangers beat Ross County, was it?
What was the COVID chat? Like, stay home, save lives or something? It's like, stay home, save Rangers.
I don't know. Just to change subject completely. I quite like this sort of 5:30 kickoff thing on a Saturday night, because, well, I mean, people like a 3:00 and everything on a Saturday too, but I'm actually out tomorrow night, and I thought that's good, because I extra couple of hours just get like another beer and just square myself up and everything. But yeah, it's this kind of like, it's almost like it's becoming like more of a sort of night game. Like, it'll be dark because it's like the winter now, right? And everybody will be like, right, what's the plans for the afternoon? And we'll get in some lunch, we got a couple of beers, get to the game, everybody will be up for it. Like, I think it's going to be an absolute cracking game. Great atmosphere, just all that type of stuff. 5:30's perfect for more drinking time. I need to behave because I'm going to Carlisle races on Sunday as well. Don't know how that all came about in the same weekend, so I will need to behave. But I think it's a really good time for a game, and I think everybody will enjoy it, and probably good for Aberdeen fans, give them a wee bit more time to travel down and get organised for the game and everything as well. Maybe not so good on the way back up.
No, never is.
No, that's a long drive.
So we'll finish off with a score prediction. I think that, like I said before, I could see this being almost, I don't want to say non-event either, but a game where we don't really break a sweat. We look the part, we look comfortable, we show up, we be the dominant force in the country, and we remind Aberdeen that they're chasing second. That's their job. They're not in a title race, they're in a second race, kind of thing. So I'm going to go with a cheeky 2-0. I mentioned it before and I can't shake it out of my head. I'm going to go 2-0 to the Hoops.
4-1.
4-1. 5 goals.
I just think, well, I mean, Aberdeen have scored 2 goals against Celtic and 2 goals against Rangers, so it'd be good to keep a clean sheet, but I think, maybe they'll sneak one, and I think Celtic are due a game where they start like hitting a few and they go in, if you know what I mean, just because, we had a few chances against them at home as well, juicy big pitch, all that type of stuff, and I think we're ready for this. We're in good form, so I'll go 4-1.
There's a few people that are not too far away from you. Alan Smith with a great comment there on Facebook. I'm just going to get these score predictions up so we can see the receipts, so we can see who was right or wrong for next week. But Alan's worried that Aberdeen are quite physical. Now, I think like the big pitch will help us as the game goes on, right? But the thing with Aberdeen is they have pace on the bench, and that's probably the most valuable thing in this match is the space. Who has people that can burst into it, who's got people that can find that pass to exploit it. So I would say it's more the the pace, the physical element of Aberdeen I'd be more worried about. You think about their opening goal, where Sockler, when we drew 2 each with them, he gets the run on between Trusty and Scales, and he had a wee bit of pace more than Nesbitt did, or Nisbet, however you want to say it, to make that happen. So I'm with you. They definitely have more to them than physically, strength, pace, than any other team in the country, you'd probably say at this point, I suppose. So that's a bit of a worry, but I think ultimately, like the pitch, they'll drown in it a bit quicker than us. We've played in Hampden, like God knows how many times with half these players, you know what I mean? So I think and again, Aberdeen they're no stranger to a semi or a final or whatever as well, I'm sure. But more of their players will be experiencing this for the first time, and I think that kind of thing can be the margin. And if they're blowing out their backsides at half time, some of these guys or guys needing subbed at 60, I'm not really that worried, to be honest with you. I think Big Casper's a clean sheet machine. I think the defence is airtight, solid. And if we've got a front three that's going to terrify them, like Dyson, Kyogo, and Kuhn, I think really it'll take a lot for them to score, I think, in this one. And I know that's rich, having just drew 2 each with them, but it was 2-0 and we were in pretty good control until the manager, got his game plan changed, made a double sub. I don't think Brendan will let that kind of thing happen twice. Like if he sees, they're because that's what they seem. They're like, if we get a bit of pace and we move, who was it they moved? They moved Duke from. They moved somebody out wide. They brought Sockler in. I can't remember all the subs, but they basically went for pace out wide and then Arrowhead. And if Rodgers gets a sniff that they've got, they might try and do this. I can see Rodgers being a bit more proactive to shutting that down rather than, the way it went last time where it ended up drawing 2 each. But we could have won it in the end. It wasn't like it was a nervy draw or anything. Or it was a bit nervy, I suppose. They almost went in front, didn't they? But you know what I'm saying? I think Rodgers will take it more serious. Sorry, on you go.
Aye, no, chances wise, and as I said to you as well, the lad Keskinen, I watched him playing against England. I think it was at Nations League or whatever. Nations League, they're not friendlies anymore, but he caused England a good few problems. So they definitely do have some good players. Jamie McGrath obviously is having a pretty good season in terms of stats as well. A shame that the lad Gay, he's injured, isn't he? So he was just kind of coming on to a bit of form as well. So yeah, I mean, I do think that we'll probably concede in this one, but I think it should. You do get a lot of quite close games or whatever in semi-finals, but I think this will be a proper good cup tie with loads of action. That's what I see. So get your money in 0-0. So that's probably be a 0-0, but I do think it will be a good game.
This is the team that beat Rangers last night, and this is kind of what I was mentioning there. This is the way. That's what it was. When they played us, McGrath was on the left, and I think Duke was maybe on the right or up. No, Kiskinen was on the right. I think Duke was in the middle or up front. And then when they made the subs, Duke went out left, McGrath came in the middle, and they put Sockler on. But if you have a look at the bench here, they've brought on Vincent Basuyan, Clarkson, Ambrose, and Morris, who ends up getting the goal. All of these guys are very direct, very front forward thinking, attacking players. So that's the way that they play. They start with this kind of team, and then they've got these like 4 subs that will just come on and try and just put that running power to push them over the top. So you kind of know what you're getting, and I hope Rodgers is kind of schooled up to a little bit better. Because it shouldn't be too hard for us, So
we've had a sighter of that, so sometimes that helps as well. As you said, they'll be more ready for it. Palaversa's pretty good player as well. So we look at that. I mean, like Aberdeen do now look a clear minimum 3rd place in the country. Obviously, Hearts and Hibs all that. I forgot about that. I looked at the table and I thought Hearts are bottom. Like they've won 2 games in Europe and they're bottom. It's just completely.
Hibs aren't far away either from them.
Hibs are second bottom. So like Hibs are like maybe like tightened up a wee bit, but they're not really scoring goals. So so I was just joking about the 0-0 just because I was just bigging up it was going to be an all action game. But I think it'll be a really good semi. Don't tell the wife I said that.
No, I won't. I'll let her find that surprise out for herself. Don't worry. No, I'm never going to tell somebody what they're getting for Christmas, you know. Hey guys, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight. Thanks everyone for understanding the lateness. All on me for Halloween. Apologies for that. I'll blame Mrs. Quinn quietly, but I'll blame myself in public, just like a good football manager does. You know, blame the players in the changing room, take the flak for the press. So there we go. But yeah, thanks everyone that tuned in live. Thanks everyone that's caught this after we've been live. Fist bumps to all you guys. Please, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are this close to 10,000 subscribers. And if you enjoy the content, you enjoy listening to me McBride on a Thursday night, then you're hurting us emotionally. Hit the subscribe button. It goes all rainbow colors, it sparkles and stuff. It will make you feel good inside. I promise you that. If you enjoyed the show tonight, please do hit the like button, of course. It lets YouTube know you had a good time tonight, and it lets us know as well. So thanks very much, McBride. As always, been an absolute pleasure, mate. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail. Enjoy the semi.
Yeah. Save that for the wife, mate.